A beautiful woman lay sleeping in bed while John, completely absorbed, continued to write furiously. He had discovered a terrifying truth. Soon, he would be silenced. So, he wrote down the secret on a piece of paper, sealed it in an envelope, and handed it to a bartender at the hotel lobby. He told the bartender that if a man named Hall came, the letter should be given to him. As soon as John left, the curious bartender opened the envelope. The contents made him break out in a cold sweat. After returning home, John silently lay down next to his wife. Then, a strange blue light flashed in his eyes. When he woke up again, he found himself in a lab back in 1999. It turns out John was a scientist who had developed a virtual world simulation system. He had created a version of Los Angeles from 1937 in this virtual world, allowing people from the real world to connect their consciousness to virtual characters and live through them. These virtual characters wouldn't have any memory of the time they spent in the simulation. Upon waking up, John immediately went to a bar to call Hall. However, before he could finish his sentence, a mysterious person appeared outside the door and called him into an alley. There, the stranger stabbed John multiple times. The next day, Hall, who John had mentioned multiple times, finally woke up. As usual, he prepared to wash up but found bloodstains in the sink. There were also bloody clothes in the living room. Shortly after, the police arrived at his place to claim John's body. Hall was not only John's assistant, but also his close friend, and together they had poured their hearts into developing the simulation system. John had even listed him as an emergency contact. The detective accompanied Hall to the company to search for clues, but instead, they found a woman in John's private apartment, crying uncontrollably. The woman introduced herself as Jenny, John's daughter, who had been living in France. Hall was confused. John had never mentioned having a child. Jenny explained that she had returned to follow John's wishes, to inherit the company and shut down the simulation system. This left Hall deeply puzzled. Why would John want to shut down a company that could potentially revolutionize human civilization? After all, this was the very project he had spent his life working on. Jenny then added, "There are things we can't imagine. He never even told you about me, did he?" These words silenced Hall. Later that evening, Jenny went to John's lawyer, hoping to figure out how to inherit his $200 million estate. The lawyer informed her that things had taken an unexpected turn. Just before his death, John had altered his will, making Hall the sole inheritor. Soon after, the police began to suspect Hall of foul play, especially given his unexpected inheritance of a massive fortune and the fact that he had spoken to the deceased the night of his death. Desperate to clear his name, Hall rushed home and immediately checked his call record. Sure enough, there was a message from John. In the message, John warned Hall that if something were to happen to him, Hall should go to the virtual world to find the answers. He also mentioned that he had left a letter for him at a hotel. It was clear that John had anticipated everything that had occurred. Given the sudden appearance of Jenny and her plan to shut down the company, it seemed obvious that this whole situation had been carefully planned.